All right, this is what I get for spending my free time on Facebook Marketplace screwing around looking at guitars. So I'll give you a little background and then you're gonna help me decide which one of these guitars to keep. Maybe, I don't know. I still don't know. I'm going back and forth every day on which one of these I like. There's a big story behind it. So a while back I sold a really nice Fender 60th anniversary just because I wasn't playing it a ton, and I got the PRS of my dreams from the money for that guitar. And I got this too. This is a Mexican made player Strat. It's actually very good for the money. And I got it for a song, got it for a really good deal. Anyway, I have this thing where if I don't play a guitar for like 6 months or a year, then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just sell it and get something else that I will play. And I was getting to that point with this guitar. And lo and behold, I was on Facebook Marketplace one night and this came up. If you don't know what this is, I'll get some better footage of this guitar for you. It's an HM Strat reissue. Now here's the deal. I had this guitar in red when I was like 20, 21 years old. And I sold it like a fool, like every other guitar I ever owned. And I've regretted it ever since. And the reissues came out 2 years ago, right at the beginning of all this COVID stuff, like almost, around 2020, I think. And I was like, you're saying there's a chance to get an HM Strat that's not already worn out, you know, and relive my youth. And let's be honest about this. This is a midlife crisis guitar, a nostalgia guitar, 100%. It's very different from a Strat. I'll go down the list of specs for this guitar a little bit later and compare them and play some things. But let me tell you this, the only thing that I really care about in a Strat is the tone on the neck pickup. There's just something about it that you can't get that kind of sound any other way. And let me tell you this, I'm a huge Eric Johnson, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, Lincoln Brewster fan, and they all play Strats, okay? And the neck pickup tone on a stock Strat is just one of the main tones that I play. And when I play a Strat, 80% of the time it's on the neck pickup, so that's the most important tone. And you may be thinking, well, that's a Mexican Strat, Nathan, how good can it be? Well, Chelsea, here's the thing, Chelsea has an American-made Strat that's available for me in this house. And I would be hard-pressed if you blindfolded me to tell the difference between the two. So this is a really great guitar for the money. I think I got it for $750 Canadian used, which is like $450, maybe $500 US. It's a really good deal. Like this is like $1,100 Canadian new. So what's that? Like $9 or $8, $9, something like that US. But I picked this up for a really good deal. Not as good of a deal as that one, and that's the reason I bought it. This one I got for $8 Canadian, which is almost the same price I picked this up for, and this is $16.99 new, which is crazy, and it's a limited edition, so I really don't know which one I want to keep. The main thing is, can I get this one to sound like a normal Strat? Because, and I guess we'll get into the specs here. The pickups on this one are a lot hotter. So it's not quite as woody and mid-range punchy sounding as this one, but they are hotter. So, and that's something that I'm like, it's the one Achilles heel for this guitar, man. Can I get it to sound like a regular Strat? Anyway, let's go over some of the specs on these two guitars just for fun. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play, I don't know, a few, like 3 or 4 licks that are my standard licks that I'm like, if it sounds good and it sounds like it should on the neck pickup of a Strat, then, you know, that's kind of my litmus test for the Strat, whether I like it or not. So this body on this one is alder, and it's more contoured. So it is kind of more comfortable when you put your arms around it and play with it, but it's heavier too. This is a lot heavier guitar than this. So I was kind of shocked at this one when I picked it up at how light it was. This one is basswood, and the body feels almost smaller. If you look at the tops of these, the edges on this one are more rounded off, and the edges on this one are a little bit more squared off. I think that's what makes it a little bit, this one a little bit more comfortable to sit down and play with. Now for the necks, it's kind of the complete opposite. I really like flat fretboard radiuses, so where the fingerboard's a little more flat than more curved. This one is a 9.5 radius, this one is a 17-inch radius. But I've always liked flat radius guitars because I've played so much acoustic in the past, and acoustic guitars, steel string acoustic guitars, and nylon string acoustic guitars for that matter, have a lot more flat fingerboard radius. The frets on this one are medium jumbo. The frets on this one are jumbo. I like the jumbos better personally, but that's not really a deal breaker for me. Again, the only thing that's a deal breaker is the neck pickup tone. And if you don't know much about the HM Strat, I think it was started being made in like 1988 or something. I could be wrong. I'll put it up here on the screen if I am. And it was only made for like 5 years. So they're super limited as far as that goes in the years they were made. And when they came out, they were kind of a flop. Not a lot of people liked them, but over the years, they kind of grew a cult following of used guitar lovers for this. I think it's because they're a little bit late on the hair metal. This is obviously like hair metal guitar, right? They're a little bit late on the end of that. As soon as they put out the HM Strat, grunge was starting to kick in, and this kind of guitar was really on the way out. So the pickups on this one are just Alnico 5 pickups, which are, to me, and this is what this Fender says about the specs on these pickups too, they just sound a little bit more hot or a little bit more punchy than a traditional Fender single coil, and that's exactly what I get from these. They sound very traditional with just a tiny bit more on. These, again, are really hot, and I can't find any specs on these of as far as what kind of magnets they're in or anything like that. They're just a lot more output, and to me, they're not as sweet in the mid-range as this one. They're better for rock, and they're a lot more sensitive, easier to play and kind of shred on, which I love shred stuff, but I also love traditional stuff, which is the problem. Earlier I mentioned that the neck pickup in this guitar, like a traditional Strat, when I think of that, I think of Eric Johnson. I'm a huge Eric Johnson fan. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Lincoln Brewster, those types of players. And the problem is, yeah, all those guys stack up. But my second favorite electric guitar player of all time is Greg Howell. And Greg Howell is one of the people that put the HM Strat on the map. And that was back in the days, like in the late 80s, early 90s. And that's kind of what he's known for. That is why I bought my original HM Strat. It's because Greg Howell was a huge fan, and I just love his music, and it really had a big influence on me. So the nostalgia is just like mounting hardcore with this one. And here's the thing, I can pick one of these up anytime, anywhere when I get the money. It's not hard to find. These are limited editions. I think they made like 300 of each color. I'm trying to convince myself to keep this one, can you tell? This one, actually, I picked it back up after 6 months, and I was quite shocked at how much I liked it, and how it's like, it's a Strat. It sounds exactly like a Strat should. It feels exactly like a Strat should. So what else can I tell you about these? This one's made in Mexico. This one's made in Japan. And I was actually really surprised. There's like no perceivable difference in the quality of these instruments. So to me, Japan and Mexico have kind of evened out as far as Strats go in the quality of their instruments. This is really cool. Again, I think this was $16.99 Canadian dollars new, and this one was like $11.99 Canadian dollars new, and I picked them up for virtually the same price, so that's another reason I'm like, well, I can just get one of these anywhere. Plus Chelsea has her American Strat sitting in her case that I can pull out anytime and play if I want. But okay, I've gone on enough. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of each one of these guitars? Should I keep this one for the sake of nostalgia and collectability? It's a limited edition. Should I keep this one for the sake of the traditional Strat sound that it just nails? Okay, I guess that's it. I know you're probably thinking, oh, K-Nate, first world problems, which Strat are you gonna keep? Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I'll keep you posted as far as what ends up happening and what I do. If you haven't already, go to guitarfam.com and create a complimentary account. You can go through the first module of all of our premium courses there for free. And I'm in the middle of editing the blues course right now, which is gonna be really fun. That's the thing, can I play blues on this? I don't know, we're gonna have to see. I don't know. We'll see which one wins, bye.